The Minnesota Vikings have been one of the top teams in the NFL, but no one seems to care. In the offseason, Minnesota fired their general manager and head coach after back-to-back losing seasons. The Vikings were a talented team without a doubt, but for some reason, they were still losing. But in the offseason, that changed. Kevin William O'Connell was hired by Minnesota for the head coaching position. Minnesota is 7-1, and they are one of the top teams based on record in the NFL. If you look at their schedule, they haven't played anybody good, and most of Minnesota games have been decided by one score. The Vikings have only faced two teams this season with a winning record. The Eagles, their one loss in a blowout game on Monday night. And in week 6, they beat the Dolphins 24-16. After week's 10 game against the Bills, we'll see whether the Vikings are generally an elite team. I'm not saying that Minnesota must defeat Buffalo, but it will be interesting to see how the Vikings will do against a top-tier football team. The Vikings just made an unexpected trade deadline deal with divisional rivals Lions for TJ Hockenson and 2 forwards for a second and third. It's strange to see two divisional rival teams make a trade for a big-time player like TJ Hockenson. This is big for Hockenson because it allows him to move from the 2-6 Lions to the 7-1 Vikings. And honestly, he looked really good against Washington. The move makes a lot of sense now. Herb Smith suffered a high ankle sprain and will be out 8 to 10 weeks. This was really good for Minnesota, and now they have an upgrade at the tight end position. Obviously, they have Justin Jefferson, and everyone knows that he is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. In just 8 games, he has over 860 yards. He's averaging over 100 yards per game, although he hasn't found the end zone as much, with 3 receiving touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown. The number 2 guy has been Adam Thielen. This season, Thielen has over 410 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. No other Viking has more than 200 yards receiving, so it has surely been a 2-man show. On the ground, Dalvin Cook has 608 yards and 5 touchdowns and 119 yards with 1 touchdown through the air. The Vikings' offensive line has been very good in the run game. It's top 5 in the league. It's no secret that Kirk Cousins has been the most divisive figure in Minnesota for quite some time. He has consistently been the league's best worst quarterback, but he has consistently put up very good numbers. The problem is when it comes to big moments, he fails. But here it is. Cousins has thrown a touchdown pass in 37 straight games. At this point, it looks like the Vikings are making the playoffs. The question is, will Minnesota play good enough to win late January? And I bet that Minnesota will be a big topic. It's no doubt they have a chance of going to the Super Bowl, and it's a possibility Kirk Cousins can win one. He has the right talent around him, and now with new head coach Kevin William O'Connell. O'Connell was with Washington at first, but then he followed McVay to the Rams to become their OC. He got his ring last year and left for a head coaching position. It's interesting times in the NFL, and we might somehow see the Vikings win the Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins. Bitch, we some stars, pull up in foreign car. I ball like LeBron, bitch, I do what I want.